welcome to this little podcast. That was just some sounds from a singing bowl I wanted to use to begin the mood. And then I wanted to do a little reading out of the Guardian Tarot deck. It's a very interesting deck with these figures that are like humanoid in nature, but they're also very connected to nature. They sort of have trees growing out of their heads and all sorts of things like that. They sort of have the semblance of dead figures. Yeah, sort of like spirits. They're sort of dead, but they're still human-like. But there's something that's not quite alive in them either. But there's something very beautiful about the deck. A little more darker and melancholy, but there's hope. There's despair and there's hope at the same time. And I think there's something really beautiful about the design of this deck. So, as a little card of the day, I think I am going to pull, excuse me, that was my hair against the microphone. I have a lot of hair. I do have a lot of hair. I'm going to do a single card pull for the moment for today and just kind of see what comes up. A Seven of Swords. It's a beautiful figure, more pink. And there's like tree branches that are the fingers. So growing out the end of the arm are like these little tree branches, and growing out of the head are also more branches. And this figure is attracting a whole bunch of crows or ravens. They seem smaller. I would say that they're like crows. But there's some kind of brighter sun in the background. Let's see. Let's look through this and find the Seven of Swords. It was drawn upright. All right. This guardian listens to others without judgment and advises only on what is told. Birds flock to this guardian to air their concerns. They know that she will consider each and every one of their concerns, as they are important as others. She does not make arbitrary judgments, and she may only be slightly aware of what words are flying through the air. When this card appears in the upright, you are being flocked to by those around you. This is due to an overall sense that you are the one who will give advice with truly the best of intentions. They may or may not tell the entire story, but you have the insight to know that people will only share the story that puts them in the best possible light. Nice. Oh, I like that. I like that as a sense of beginning of wanting to do a podcast, because it does speak to me wanting to share things from my heart. And part of my ideas about going about doing a podcast is to be interviewing people and, allowing them to speak and talk about what work that they do. And I'm looking towards like spiritual healers and different kinds of people, also musicians, but I would say that all really goes hand in hand in terms of, people's experience and what provides healing for people, because music is just so utterly powerful and is an absolute gift in humanity. Part of music is part of what makes humans human, because we're able to make sense of sound and put it together and make something meaningful out of it and deliver and share meaning. And anyway, I like how it says you have the insight to know that people will only share the story that puts them in the best possible light. I don't know. There's something interesting. I can, you can obviously differentiate when people are telling you just the positive or the negative, but it's nice to have conversations to draw out some negativity, and then that just lets people express themselves. But overall, wanting to bring the best possible, lightest expression to humanity, but things that connect us too, we don't need to share people's deep, dark secrets necessarily, but we do want to share truth, don't we? I think this card has quite a bit of light, and it makes sense for me. It makes sense that a lot of people have told me that they think it's time for me to do a podcast. My broken foot and all, it's really one of my better skills that I have to offer at this time in my life. That is, part of why I want to do this as well. I am pouring some tea. This is a Baozhong that I started a couple of days ago. And, I just didn't get through all the steepings, life distractions, needing to lay down, etc., etc. So I'm between re-steeping that one and also steeping a new one. This is a golden dragon yellow tea. Anyways, they both have their different characteristics. One's an oolong, one's a yellow tea. Yellow tea is, for those who don't know, it's a category of tea and production that's sort of somewhere between white and green and sort of has some reminiscence of oolong as well. It's special. It's got its own flavor. I promise. Yellow's awesome. In my endeavors in doing podcast, I will be talking about all sorts of different things. Anything that catches my attention. This will always go, between tea, of course, and conversations over tea. I think those are some of the best ways to have really deep, meaningful, philosophical conversations. I'm going to do tarot and oracle readings as well. I think it's a great way to set a mood or start a conversation and start, what's kind of going on, and definitely poetry as well. I have so much poetry to share, and people love to just hear me share my poetry, and this should just be a wonderful way to do it because, it's hard to book a show and get people out there and get a whole bunch out there. I've done it a couple of times and it's just a wonderful experience, but at the same time, I get to share more and be more direct when I am just speaking in a podcast. No, I don't have to. Yeah. Well, the difference between doing a podcast and being out there performing. Let's see. What is the difference? So being out there performing, I put on a whole show and I'm engaging and I'm looking people in the eyes. So there is a sense of flow and excitement and feeling out the room. Anytime I've done an open mic or performance and things, I can feel the energy in the room. I can feel which poems need to be presented and which ones need a bit more further explanation and what people are really connecting to. I can look in their eyes and I can just feel the space a lot differently, right? And so that's the joy of performance, and I would go on stage like every night. I love it. I already love it. Love having a microphone. I love being in the center of attention because I have done so much work in writing great poetry and done so much work in building myself as a performer as well. I just love it. And so bringing back to the difference now between doing a podcast, well, there's a bit more of a direct speaking from the heart, and I can just focus on what I want to focus on, or I can, go off into different directions, but it can be engaging too. And I can make little jokes, and if you're following along my podcast, maybe you can start to understand my brain and when I pop out a joke and when I think something is a joke. Like that. Yeah. So this is going to be a fun endeavor for me. Okay. One poem because we're here. This is kind of a poem, and I just have something close by that I can reach to and read. So I bought a new journal when I got down to Eureka, California, on a road trip in February this year. And I had finished an old journal and I needed a new one. Simply put, I'm a writer. I can't go without a journal for very long. Always need to record something. So I found this nice journal at a bookshop, and it's kind of like Chinese art on it. Very really beautified. So it's these big, heavy, crashing waves and a great big red, I would say setting sun on it with a sort of like a darker background. I'm seeing the sunset here. So this is what I wrote about it. Red setting sun pulls the tides into grace, splashing in reverence, for gravity teaches them a song never yet once sung. A treasure for the howling winds to carry across a darkened landscape, fill the air for all to hear. The crashing rhythm of the sea's cymbal sprays a fiery mist about the earth, to heal from the day's events and move silently into the dark, distant depths. No emotion, just existence. Is that who we strive to be, or the dreamers who perceive? I'd rather dream. Thank you. Signing off and drinking a cup of tea.